it is completely immoral for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to sit in an APC-led government and dictate who becomes the leader of PDP in Rivers State. That, to me, is laughable. How could a party like APC lose such their moral compass to the point that they want to sit in their own party and dictate who becomes the leader of another party? That again tells us that they validated the claims from the opposition that the APC want to railroad Nigeria into a one-party state.
The president seems to be saying, if this report is correct, that he's remaining in PDP and what he is doing there is really has my blessing, because he is there essentially to wreck PDP as an opposition party in the service of the president's 2027 re-election hopes.
If the president's intervention has truly followed justice and peace and true reconciliation, I can tell us for sure that there would have been peace in Rivers State for the many times that the president has tried to intervene in the crisis in Rivers State. But because it is not following peace, because there is no justice, because there is no equality, you cannot have true reconciliation. True reconciliation comes when there is truth, when there is peace, and when there is justice.
About how the president intervened to resolve the crisis, and I noticed that it has not been denied more than 24 hours after it was published. It actually, as far as I can see, will perpetuate the crisis instead of resolving it. To say that Minister Nyesom Wike is the undisputed political leader in Rivers contradicts the APC constitution as enunciated recently by the party's national secretary and also the national chairman, that governors are the leaders of the party in their states. Now, but here you are now saying this minister is the leader when he is not even a member of the party.
The system is dysfunctional. The rule of law is not obeyed. The courts are just at the whims and caprices of people who are in power, so they dictate what the court does. You can see a House of Assembly in Rivers State where you see 27 members who wake up in the morning and then one man dictates their action, tells them what to do, tells them when to sit and when not to sit. So how can the president move into matters like that, except that the states have been allowed to function according to the constitution, which is not what we are seeing in an APC-led government.
Honestly, this does not look to me, at least, like an attempt to solve the problem. Instead, it is to hand over the knife and everything to Minister Wike to continue the role that he is playing as leader of Rivers politics in both APC and PDP. This has never happened in the political history of Nigeria.
Peace returned to Rivers State quietly. No press conference, no signed agreement, no victory speech, just a sudden halt. One moment, impeachment threats dominated the political space. The next, Abuja stepped in and everything froze. Because in Nigerian politics, silence is never emptiness. It is negotiation. This documentary is not about who won the Rivers crisis. It is about why President Bola Tinubu tilted clearly towards Nyesom Wike in his recent peace agreement making round in the country, and also what this peace deal truly means, and why this agreement may be one of the most dangerous political compromise of this administration. To understand the deal, you must first understand how close Rivers State came to collapse. Governor Siminalayi Fubara did not face a symbolic threat. He faced a procedural, numerical, and political reality. The Rivers State House of Assembly was hostile. Its loyalty leaned heavily towards Wike. The impeachment drumbeat was not propaganda, it was preparation. At that point, 3 weeks alarmed Abuja. First, institutional paralysis. An impeachment crisis will shut down the governance in one of Nigeria's most economically strategic states. Secondly, security risk. Rivers State is politically volatile. Legislative crisis. There do not stay within chambers. They pile onto the streets. And third, presidential image. Allowing a sitting governor to be removed by a proxy war will signal weak central control. Tinubu's intervention was not emotional. It was strategic. The presidency understood something critical. If impeachment succeeded, the danger would not end with Fubara. It would redefine how power is contested across Nigeria. So Abuja chose intervention, not to heal Rivers State, but to contain it. The Rivers State peace deal was never meant to reconcile enemies. It was designed to freeze conflicts. At its core, the deal rests on three silent understandings. First, impeachment must stop immediately, not because it was unjust, but because it was destabilizing. Second, Wike must not be politically diminished. His influence had to remain intact. And third, Fubara must survive, but not dominate. He would remain governor, but within limits. No document was signed, no clause was published, but the effects were visible. Impeachment rhetorics disappeared. Legislative aggression slowed. Political tension moved behind closed doors. This was not peace built on trust. It was peace built on mutual restraint under Abuja's supervision. And that is where the danger begins. This is the central question. Why did Tinubu lean clearly towards Wike instead of maintaining strict neutrality? The answer lies in how Tinubu understands power. 1. Loyalty as political currency. Tinubu's political worldview is shaped by one principle: loyalty is never forgotten. Wike crossed party lines in 2023. He paid a political price for it. He fractured his base to deliver support. From Tinubu's perspective, abandoning Wike would send a fatal signal to every political ally in Nigeria. Loyalty is disposable. That signal would be more dangerous than Rivers' instability. 2. Wike controls structures. Fubara controls the office. In Nigerian politics, structures matter more than titles. Wike builds party machinery, commands legislative loyalty, maintains influence beyond formal office, and for Fubara, inherited power, relies on institutional legitimacy, lacks independent political machinery. Tinubu did not choose between two equals. He chose the man with enduring leverage. 3. Fear of a rogue power center. Confronting Wike aggressively would push him into rebellion, and a politically wounded Wike would be more dangerous than a cooperative one. Tinubu chose contentment over confrontation. By siding with Wike, the presidency ensured continued alignment, controlled influence, reduced unpredictability. It was not favoritism, it was risk management. The Rivers peace deal may have stopped impeachment, but it introduced four major dangers. Danger number 1, it neutralizes political coercion. The lesson is clear: apply enough pressure and Abuja will negotiate. This creates a precedent where threats replace dialogue. Impeachment becomes leverage. Governance becomes secondary. Danger number 2, a governor without full authority. Fubara remains governor, but politically constrained. Such a governor governs cautiously, avoids bold reforms, operates under constant surveillance. This weakens democratic authority and executive confidence. Danger number 3, the legislature remains a loaded gun. The House of Assembly was not neutralized. It was paused. At any moment, political temperature can rise again. The weapon still exists. Danger number 4, conflict was postponed, not resolved. No root issue was addressed. Power ownership, political autonomy, leadership legitimacy. Silence replaced resolution, and silence never lasts. Because it will break, peace built on restraint has an expiration date. If Fubara asserts independence, conflict returns. If Wike feels sidelined, pressure resumes. If Abuja shifts focus, Rivers becomes volatile again. And when it returns, it will be harsher. This time, Fubara may lack Abuja's patience, Wike may lack restraint. The presidency may lack options. What was avoided once may become inevitable. Tinubu chose stability. He chose loyalty. He chose control. In short terms, it worked. But long-term peace requires fairness, clarity and resolution, none of which this deal provides. Rivers State is calm, not healed. Governance continues, but under tension. Power exists, but is contested. This peace deal is not an ending. It is a pause that favors Wike and undermines Fubara. And when the pause ends, the consequences may be heavier than impeachment itself. At this point in this video, we ask, was Tinubu right to side with Wike? Is this peace smart leadership or delayed disaster? And how long can a governor rule without full control of power? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more deep political documentaries, because in Nigerian politics, peace is often just conflicts waiting for the right moment.
Now, even other aspects of the agreement, which sounds like a concession to Fubara, like saying the Wike camp should withdraw the impeachment moves, may actually be helping the Wike camp to pull their chestnuts out of the fire, because already the impeachment move has stalled in the courts. The High Court has stopped it, pending hearings, and then it will go on appeal to appeal court and Supreme Court, which might take a very good part of this year. And even if the Wike camp wins the court cases, in the end, the matter will come back to the Chief Judge of Rivers State to set up the panel to investigate the allegations made against the governor. And from all indications, the Wike camp is not assured of the cooperation of the Chief Judge, which was why last year they tried to remove him. That's the majority members, 26 of them. They said they have found information that the Chief Judge falsified his age at a certain stage in his career, and they were trying to remove him. And it was clear that it's in order to have a Chief Judge who will cooperate and set up a panel that will return a guilty verdict against the governor, because unless you do that, the whole impeachment process collapses, and you can't even raise it again in the lifespan of the President Assembly.
The history of crisis in Rivers State. First of all, when there is crisis, we need to know who is benefiting from this crisis. In 2014 and 2015, the present FCT minister was Minister for Education, Junior Minister for Education. And of course, we are aware of the role he played between the former governor, Rotimi Chubike-Amechi, and the former First Lady, Patience Jonathan. He introduced a crisis that rocked the government of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and that cost Jonathan his second tenure. But Wike was the beneficiary because he became governor of Rivers State after that crisis. You are also aware that sometimes in 2018, 2019, Governor Wike, this crisis promoter, also promoted crisis within the APC that led APC not to have a candidate in the 2019 election. Again, in 2023, Governor Wike also promoted crisis in the PDP that led to the loss of the PDP in the 2023 election, and that earned Governor Wike the FCT minister. So someone has been a crisis promoter in Rivers State and has always been benefiting from crisis. So it is not strange that Governor Wike is former Governor Wike is at it again, this time against his political godson, who he placed in Rivers State as a stooge,